Hey, shalom, 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 everyone. My name is Zachariah Yehouda, coming back with another lesson, prophesying the downfall of Babylon, aka America. Home where all the gross abomination occur. I'm just coming back with another walk and talk lesson. I want to go back into that Stockholm syndrome and that fruitism, and also cognitive denialism. So yesterday I want to come at another angle. So I'm gonna spend. All right, Tim. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come at it with a different angle, and I hope you all be edified with the lesson. All right. So, yeah, let's go into this thing, and I hope you all be edified. Okay, we was yesterday we had went into I was mixing it up a little bit. So we're gonna go further off into it a little deeper, and then today I'm gonna use a lot of scriptures as we go with the lesson. And then I got my boy. We're gonna land back on the other part of my lesson. We're gonna land back off Danny Hype on geopolitical scene. Him and Larry Johnson and the other guy, the other expert. We're gonna weigh in on a little of their commentary. And we're gonna tie, like we normally do, tie it into to Bible prophecy. Okay, so let's go. So yeah, yesterday I was so right now we're gonna go into the border of wickedness within exposing fleshly trust and divided allegiance. Okay, the border of wickedness within exposing fleshly trust and divided allegiance. Okay, that's the name of this lesson. Okay, let's go into this thing. All right, here. Okay, Freudian defense mechanism. I was gonna tackle it yesterday, but Spirit jumping on me now to do it now. So what is Freudian defense mechanism? What is it? Freudian defenses such as denial, projection, and rationalization may shield the mind temporarily, but distort perception. It said, but distort perception, the abstract spiritual growth. All right. It said it said in America, psychological reasoning often justifies obedience to corrupt systems or avoidance to
Is this C5?
C line right there. Yeah, yeah. So it says here, America's psychological reasoning often justifies obedience to a corrupt system. Okay, it said, or avoidance of accountability. All right, it said the children of Israel, which consists of the true children of Israel, not the so-called heritage stealers. My man Elton Malcolm called Khazar deniers. Okay, they Khazarians. Okay, they came out of the Caucasus Mountain. All right, which is AKA Edomites. All right. So let's continue on with the lesson. It said, in America, psychological reasoning often justifies obedience to corrupt systems or avoidance of accountability. The children of Israel, the true children of Israel, repeatedly trusted all the way into this now, until now. Still trust in human reasoning over Yahweh. Suffering repeated failure and compromise. Okay? Failure and compromise. All right? It said no psychological theory can replace obedience or reveal truth. Only Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, corrects guidance. It said the heart corrects and guides the heart. It said we must reject self-deception and embrace submission, embrace full submission to divine instruction, more so than now than ever. Okay? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10, verses 23. It said, "O Yahweh, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps." See? So human reasoning alone cannot lead to righteousness, salvation, or safety. Freudian mechanisms may explain avoidance, uncomfortable truth, but cannot deliver moral clarity or spiritual guidance. Rationalization often justify allegiance to corrupt systems rather than obedience to the law. To divine law. All right. It said the children of Israel illustrate the danger of trusting self over Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. It says denial and rationalization obscure truth and perpetuate compromise. And that's what we see with a lot of our people, man. Like, a lot of brothers claim to be into the truth. They were pushing the Lord's name and word, and then they somehow sold out. Took bag. Now this latest accusation was that the Twitter deal and Twitter dumb, you know who I'm talking about, received $1 million, 10 million, okay, for their efforts in pushing this false doctrine. All right, for the elite international banking family, these Khazar deniers. Okay, let's go to so it said denial and rationalization obscure truth and perpetuate compromise. Spiritual wisdom requires humility and submission and obedience to Yahweh. Those who reject self-deception and trust divine instruction walk securely and prosperous. So those who do these things, man, gonna be secure. You know, when the Lord brings forth this wrath fully. Let's go here to Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. It said, trust in Yahweh with all thy heart and lean not on thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. See, so the Lord gonna direct our path in these times of this slippery slope, so to speak. All right. So relying on human understanding alone leads to error and danger. The children of Israel repeatedly suffered when trusting themselves instead of Yahweh. It says psychology cannot replace divine guidance or obedience. Full submission to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai ensures clarity and deliverance and divine protection. Divine instruction is the only path to life and freedom and wisdom. All right. So let's go into let's get this here real quick. It said, matter of fact, let's do this. So let's go into the this synopsis that I want to I read some of it yesterday. Okay, we're going into the fruit end. So we're going to compare Freudian denial versus political denial. 2, compare Freudian fetishism versus conspiracy thinking. Then we're going to break down this psychoanalytic analysis or psychoanalytic terms clearly before we compare them. Okay? Come on now. Okay, let's do this here. So we're gonna get this Freudian denial. So Freudian denial, particularly, is a form of disavowal. Describe a psychic mechanism in which the individual simultaneously recognizes and rejects a disturbing reality, creating a split within ego that allows contradictory beliefs, all right, to coexist without full integration, right? It said, and this same structural dynamic can be observed in modern conspiracy culture when individuals acknowledge visible evidence of events, yet reinterpret or reject their implications in order to preserve ideological identity and emotional security. And, hey, you see a lot of these leaders do this here to this day. All right. 2, it said, in Freud's account of fetishism, the subject perceived the threatening fact, yet symbolically symbolically substitute an object to neutralize its emotional meaning. And similarly, it said, and similarly, in political denial, individual construct alternative narratives, such as stage events or fabricated. It said, or fabricated conspiracies that function psychologically as fetish objects, replacing destabilizing facts with ideologically comforting substitute that protects group cohesion. Yeah, I thought the other butt. All right. 3, it said Freud argued that disavowal involves a splitting of ego into two coexisting positions. It said one aligned with perception and one aligned with desire. And this splitting is mirrored in conspiracy thinking, where a person may publicly recognize, oh shit, to go to bus. Hey, what's up, buddy? All right. All right, let's keep going to the lesson. All right, so let's keep going to the lesson. All right, what was it? Let's keep it going. Hold on, y'all, bear with me here. Okay, that's good like that there. All right. Hold it like that. Let's see here.
Greenbelt Station. Transfer. Stop requested.
All right, let's go. Let's get it. So, all right, so what did we stop at? Here we was so Freud argued that disavow involved a splitting of the ego into two coexisting positions. One aligns with perception and one aligned with desire. It said, and this splitting is mirrored in conspiracy thinking when a person may publicly recognize that event occurred while privately sustaining a counter narrative that reassigns blame or denies authenticity in order to avoid moral or cognitive dissonance. Okay, so let's find out what this means. All right, so we're gonna take our time on this lesson here. How much time we in?
Monday 11. Transfer point to Route 22.
Yeah, let's take our time to get it right. Break this stuff down into layman terms for you people. All right. So matter of fact, let's get this and then we will go back to the top and then I'll start over and do each one of them before we go into the precept.
Washington Avenue. Transfer point to Route 14.
Okay, so let's read it again. It said, Freud argued that disavow involved a splitting of the ego into two coexisting positions, one aligned with perception and one aligned with desire. And this splitting is mirrored in conspiracy thinking, which a person may publicly recognize that an event occurred while private sustaining a counter or narrative that reassigns blame and or denies authenticity in order to avoid moral or cognitive dissonance. Okay, so let's break it down and see what it means in layman terms. So layman terms, Freud concept is a disavow or ego splitting means holding two completely opposite beliefs at the same time to protect yourself from a painful truth. And that's what we see. That's what we see happen here in America, man. This is what a lot of people do. they, see something that's happening, but they hold on to these old belief systems, and that will lead them down the road of destruction. See? All right? It said, so we are not completely ignoring reality, denial, but we are not accepting it either. Instead, we create a patch in your mind that lets you acknowledge the truth while acting as if it isn't true. Okay. So here's the breakdown on how this applies to conspiracy thinking based on my prompt. Okay. It says the split ego. I know, but it said a perception, you see, and evidence of an event, etc. I see that news reports and photos of this event, right? B, it said desire. You don't want to believe that. You don't want to believe the implication of that event because it causes too much anxiety, guilt, or confusion, etc. But I cannot accept that this happened because it destroys my worldview. Okay. It said the result. You don't just say that never happened. Instead, you say, I know it happened, but it was a staged event, a false flag done by someone else. 2, the conspiracy thinking as disavowed. Okay, conspiracy theories act as a patch for this split. They allow a person to acknowledge the traumatic and uncomfortable event occurred while immediately reframing it to fit a narrative that makes them feel safer and more in control. Okay. Example: a person sees a tragic event, on the view sloppy. Example: it said a person sees a tragic event on the news, acknowledge reality. 2, it said disavow. They immediately switch to a narrative that the government staged it, satisfying the desire to maintain a specific worldview, right? 3, it said why. It said this stops the psychological pain, cognitive dissonance, of having to accept a chaotic or random world, replacing it with a belief that there is a, however sinister master plan. Okay. So summary of the analogy. Publicly, I know this event occurred privately, but it wasn't real. Was caused by X hidden force. All right. So
Stealth requested.
So summary of the analogy. Publicly, I know this event occurred, but privately, but it wasn't real because it said it wasn't real. Was caused by X hidden force. So it is a psychological defense mechanism where a person refuses to accept the meaning of reality, even though they see the reality itself. Okay. That's So this is what we're gonna focus on today, and we're gonna bring some precepts. All right. So yeah, let's go into this thing.
Stop requested. Approaching Marquette Avenue. Please watch for bicycles.
Okay, so let's get it.
I got 70 cash.
Approaching 3rd Avenue and 4th Avenue. Approaching Portland Avenue.
Y'all hold on, bear with me, I'm still here.
Stop requested.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Chicago Avenue.
Yeah, I'm back, y'all. Let's get it. All right. Okay. So let's go back and read that.
Approaching 3rd Street.
Read that.
Transfer point to Route 2. This stop for University
Read
of
that.
Minnesota West
That
Bank.
piece. So Freud argued that disavowal involved a splitting of ego into two coexisting positions, one aligned with perception and one aligned with desire. Okay? It said, and this splitting is mirrored in conspiracy thinking. Okay, we are, it said, where a person may publicly recognize that an event occurred while privately sustaining a counter narrative that reassigns blame or denies authenticity in order to avoid more cognitive dissonance. So what does all this mean? Okay, we see a lot of this goes on with people here in America every day.
4th Street and
Let's find out what it means. Scripturally. Okay.
Avenue. This stop for Oxford University. Stop requested.
Okay, let's go into it. All right, so what does this mean scripturally? Okay, sin but refusing the meaning. All right. It said there is a condition where a person acknowledges what is in front of them but they see it clearly and cannot deny the evidence. Yet something inside resists accepting what it implies. So instead of rejecting the event, they reinterpret it. So scripture shows this split long before psychology gave it a name. Okay, you know that fruitism, that's a sign of all that is a pseudoscience, and that's what America is based on. They based a lot of their philosophies on these bugged out ass Edomites. All right. Okay, let's go here. It said there is a condition where a person acknowledges what is in front of them. They see it clearly and cannot deny the evidence, yet something inside resists accepting what it implies. So instead of rejecting the event, they reinterpret it. Scripture shows this split long before psychology gave it a name. So let's go here to James chapter 1 verses 22, and I'm gonna read down to 24. Okay, it said, but ye doers of the word, say what? But ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Okay, and that's what a lot of people be doing. Okay, for if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. Wow. For he, verse 24, it said, for he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, the straight way forgetteth what manner of man he was. See? So James describes a man who sees himself accurately in a mirror. There is no distortion in what he sees. It says the truth is presented plainly before him, but when he walks away, he chooses not to act on it. See, he does not deny what he saw. He refuses its obligation. That is the split perception on one side, desire on the other. So self-deception begins when truth is acknowledged but not submitted to. You see, let's go here to Ezekiel chapter 33 verse 31. It said, and they come unto thee as a people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear that word, but they will not do them. See? So for with their mouth they shew much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. So here, so it said here the people hear. It said the people hear the people hear the prophet, but protect their own desire. Their ears receive the message while their heart resist it. This is the spiritual form of ego splitting. Beautiful. It said the mind keeps the appearance of agreement, but will remain untouched. How much time we in? Let's see how much time we in. Okay, we're doing beautiful. Okay, it said they knew God. Let's get Romans chapter 1 verse 21. Romans chapter 1, verse 21. Let's get that. Let's see here. Romans 1. I'm going to start at 18. And I'm going to read down to 21. It says, unbelief. Oh, that Tim. It said, for the wrath of God is who they ignorant call Jesus Christ. It said, for the wrath of power is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold truth in unrighteousness. Verse 19, because that which because that which way be known to power is manifest in them, for power have showed it unto them. Verse 20, for the invisible thing of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his external power and Godhead, so that there are without excuse. See? They go to the point right here, said, because that when they knew power, they glorified him not as power, neither were they thankful, but became vain in their imagination, and their foolish heart was darkened. So that's why you see a lot of these niggas out here fucked up, man. They got a dark spirit on them, man. And claim to be righteous, man. These niggas, so the Lord gonna, he expose these niggas right now. They being exposed. All right? You know, you have a lot of people, they continue to come up against us, man, the Hebrew Israelites. The men that are doing the work, they come up against us and they won't do the work. But yet they'll criticize us for doing the work. That's why the Lord mad at these niggas, and a lot of them finna get that sword. They finna see the Lord's sword. The Lord finna have this nigga Esau open up on these niggas, man. Real soon. Okay, let's continue on the lesson. See, what was it? So let's go back and read that again. It said, so Romans chapter 1, verse 21 is talking about there is a difference between ignorance and refusal. Ignorance has no light. Refusal reject the light. It sees. Okay, a person can intellectually acknowledge truth while emotionally resisting it. See, you know, you got a lot of our people, man, they very emotional. Man, you go in the penitentiary, man, them niggas up in the penitentiary got football numbers because they was emotional. Emotional drive people to make unrational decisions. You know, nigga acting all emotional and took another man's life. Okay, you see, that's emotional. You got a lot of emotional ass niggas in the penitentiary. You know, all them niggas, man, got football numbers, man. Over silly shit. Okay? This is what I'm talking about right here. So let's go here, let's get it. It said there is a difference between ignorance and refusal. Okay, ignorance has no light. Refusal reject the light it sees. A person can intellectually acknowledge truth while emotionally resisting it. See, so a lot of niggas they very emotional. They reject this truth, man. Okay, verse it said this creates. Say what? This creates tension between what is known and what is desired. Scripture exposes this internal fracture clearly. Romans chapter 1, verse 21. It said, because that when they knew God, so God is who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, G430. Okay, they glorified him not as God. Okay, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imagination. See? And their foolish heart was darkened. So that's why you got a lot of these niggas out here dark. They got a fucking dark heart, man. Okay, and when truth come to them, man, they come up against the truth. These niggas not doing the work of the Lord, but they criticize the men that doing the work. Okay, it said, but Paul, Paul does not say they did not know God. He said when they knew God, the knowledge, it said the knowledge were present, but honor, it said, but honor withheld. Instead of submitting to what they understood, they reshaped reality in their imagination. That's what you see a lot of these niggas doing in them harlot houses, them churches and shit. You know? The Lord said he gonna destroy them harlot houses, but them niggas still believe in them harlot houses, calling them fake white man Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Ain't no fucking Jesus gonna save you, Jake. Okay, it said Paul does not say the men, it said Paul does not say they did not know Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. He says when they knew Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, the knowledge was present, but honor was not, but honor was withheld. Instead of submitting to worship, they understood. They reshape reality in their imagination. See, you got a lot of 2/3 of these niggas, men and women, man, they reshape their own reality. We call it separate realities. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do a lesson on separate reality. So the reason it became a shield against uncomfortable truth. The truth ain't it's uncomfortable, man. Especially when you've been brainwashed to believe it even cause right. It said their reasoning became a shield against uncomfortable truth. This is the psychological split. Awareness of one side resisted on the other. So darkness entered not through ignorance, but through refusal. Okay, they refuse to acknowledge the real truth. Let's get John chapter 3, verse 19. It said, and this is the condemnation that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. See, so you got a lot of people, man, deeds are evil. Okay? It said light does not fail to shine. It exposes. When exposure threatens behavior, the mind defends itself.